It's now time to have a look at our most successful bikes of the 2018 Women's World Tour.
Yeah, that's right. Our GCN behind the scenes boffins have been busy with the highly complex GCN points award scheme and have computed the following list based upon race results in the Women's World Tour of 2018.
So, without further ado, here's our rundown of the top 10. Let's see what's top of the pops. In at number 10, it's the Canyon AEROAD. This wasn't a standout year for Canyon, with Kazia Niewiadoma taking their only World Tour win, but it was a pretty great win. Niewiadoma attacked from a super select group with 8 kilometers left to race, soloing to victory in some truly grim conditions. The Canyon SRAM team will be hoping that they have a better season next year, building on their stunning win at the World Championships team time trial.
In 9th place, the ORBEA ORCA makes our list thanks to Katie Hall's breakthrough win at the Tour of California, taking the overall and the Queen stage in fact. Amazingly for Hall, this win secured her a contract for 2019 with Boels Dolmans, so expect to see her lighting up some pretty big races next season.
In equal 9th, we've also got the FUJI TRANSONIC, thanks to another breakthrough win. This time for Charlotte Becker of High Tech Products, taking a stage and the overall at the Tour of Chongming Island.
Coming in at equal 7th place, we've got 3 bikes. First up is the COLNAGO V2R of Wiggle High Five. The standout win for this bike has to be Kirsten Wild's Ride London Classique victory.
Next up, we've got the Live AVOW of Team Sunweb. Now, Sunweb won 3 World Tour team time trials this season, but were ultimately disappointed to miss out on the World Championship title.
And finally, we've got another TT bike, the Scott Plasma, ridden by Mitchelton Scott, and more precisely by Annemiek van Vleuten. Van Vleuten dominated the World Tour time trials this year, winning every single World Tour individual time trial she rode. Her best victory on the Plasma has to be the uphill TT at the Giro Rosa. Just about every other rider was on a climbing road bike, and Van Vleuten beat them all on her TT rig. How cool's that?
That's impressive. At number 4, it's the Live LANGMA, the second Live bike on our list. Now, this wasn't quite a stellar year for the LANGMA, with Team Sunweb having a strong but unremarkable season compared to last year, where Corinne Riviera alone took 4 wins on the LANGMA.
Now at number 3, it's the Ridley HELIUM SLX of Team Wow Deals. So Marianne Vos took all but 1 of the 7 wins on the HELIUM this year. A real return to form for the iconic Dutch rider. I mean, how about winning every single stage and the overall at the Tour of Norway for dominance?
That is dominant.
Love it.
Now, it's worth a pause at this point, because although we've got a top 10 most successful bikes, the top 2 really are in a league of their own. Such was the dominance of 2 squads, well, and arguably 2 riders in this year's Women's World Tour. The 2 bikes at the very top of our list have actually won more World Tour races than the rest of the list put together.
So while looking at those top 2, it's worth having a bit of a look at how these 2 squads have dominated the year in women's racing.
Just missing the top spot, in at number 2 is the Specialised Tarmac with 12 wins plus the World Championships. Now, this will probably come as a surprise to most of you out there, but the Specialised Tarmac of Boels Dolmans doesn't quite top our list. Since their breakthrough season in 2015, Boels Dolmans have been the undoubted super team of women's cycling. There's almost no race in the year that the Dutch squad isn't a factor in the final result. Boels Dolmans have always prided themselves on their one-day successes, and this year is no different. In the first big block of one-day races, the Specialised Tarmac was, well, it won 6 one-day victories.
I mean, they included 4 wins, didn't they? For arguably the greatest rider in women's cycling at the moment, Anna van der Breggen. The bike's finest moment, though, probably came on the 29th of September, when van der Breggen attacked solo with the world champs to win by an incredible 3 minutes and 42 seconds. Even more amazingly, this was van der Breggen's first ever World Championships win. This has to be one of the greatest riders of the year, without a doubt. That's right. Coming in at number 1, it is the Scott Foil, ridden by Mitchelton Scott. Now, as we said, Van Vleuten has had an absolutely stellar season. Her victory at La Course, for me, has to be the race of the year. It looked for all Basically Van Vleuten had been beaten by Van der Breggen, but the Mitchelton-Scott rider never gave up the fight and managed to claw her way past Van der Breggen, literally in the final metres.
But it really was in the Giro Rosa where the Scott foil had its finest hour. Jolien de Hoore started things off by taking 2 sprint wins in a row, and it was on stage 4, the first summit finish, that we really saw the dominance of the Mitchelton-Scott climbing duo of Amanda Spratt and Annemiek van Vleuten, while the bunch Mark van Vleuten Spratt attacked solo for the win.
But from then on, it really was the Van Vleuten show, as she won 3 of the final 4 stages. On the stage 9 summit finish up Monte Zoncolon, Van Vleuten just needed to follow the attacks as she already had a nearly 3-minute lead overall. Instead, the Dutchwoman was the one putting in the attacks, riding away to a solo victory herself. Greedy.
The final question for us to talk about is what's going to happen next year. Boels Tillmans have made some great signings for the 2019 season. With Jolien de Hoore, they now have probably the best punchy sprinter in the peloton, and the Tour of California winner, Katie Hall, is one of the most exciting climbers on the scene.
Now, Mitchelton-Scott, meanwhile, will be hoping that Amanda Spratt will continue her meteoric rise, and the duo of Spratt and Van Vleuten could be almost impossible to handle in the climbs next year.
What about the new super team in women's cycling next year? Maybe next year we'll see a Trek at the top of our list, because, the Trek team are going to have Lizzie Deignan, Lotte Lepisto and Elisa Longo Borghini. I mean, that's going to be a crazy strong lineup.
Yeah, isn't it? I'm so excited, actually. I can't wait for it to get going.
Yeah, I can't wait to sit back with some cold beers and watch the racing next season. Fortunately, I've got one of these GCN bottle openers, which are available in the GCN shop.
Beers are sold separately, aren't they?
Yeah, thanks for that's important to point out. Thanks for watching. Thumbs up, subscribe, and if you've not seen the men's list yet, then you can click down here for that.
Efficient, Ollie. I like it.